Why was there any top European club that wanted to sign Victor Osimhen this summer? There were a lot of top European, top tiers teams that all wanted a striker. Bayern Munich wanted a striker. Manchester United wanted a striker. Chelsea wanted a striker. Arsenal wanted a striker. Liverpool wanted a striker. But none of them settled for Victor Osimhen. I'm going to break down the reason why these clubs all rejected Osimhen. But before we continue, my name is Shashak Mati, Culture 808. Please consider to subscribe so that we can always give you such like contents. First of all, before a club signs you, whole package must fit what the club wants. The first package is always the financial package. The second package is the personality of the player. And the third package is always the sponsorship deals the player have. So let's start with the financial package, because you as a fan, soccer to you is passion. You support your club with everything. You buy the jersey, you are always there. If the club drops, doesn't win any title, you always stick to the club. But to the clubs, the players, and the sponsorship and everything, it's all business. And that's why over the summer we were having a very long tournament in America, which was called the Club World Cup. You know, after a long season, the player played the whole season, and then they played for the national team, and then some of them played the Champions League, and there is this Nations League in Europe. That's a lot of games, and then you give the players again another game, which is called the World Cup. World Cup clubs in America, where it was so hot and the sun was in a scorching heat. That was only business. FIFA only wanted to make money. And that's what I'm telling you, soccer is all about making money. It's all business. And even the club, before they sign a player, first thing they think of the money. First of all, they think, this player, if we sign him, are we going to pay that the giving club is going to is demanding? So for example, Napoli was demanding 75 million for Osimhen. That's one package they think about. The second package they think about the salary of the player. If they give him this contract, how long, how much are we going to pay for this year for this player? They think about that. And last but not least, they think the sponsorship that the player is having. Are they going to compensate another sponsorship which is going to contradict with their sponsors and everything? And those are all packages that they look for, first of all, as a club. On the side of the player also, the package is normal. First of all, he wants his salary. The salary must be there that he wants, okay? The second thing that he thinks about is sponsorship. If the club is going to accept his sponsorship, because I can give you an example. A club can't be playing with a Nike jersey, but the player has a contract with Adidas, which means if he comes to the club, he's going to put on a Nike jersey, but Adidas is also represented over there, so they have to agree what the player is going to do, and that's the thing that if you can remember Messi when he was in Barcelona was playing with Nike, but if you looked, Messi was wearing Adidas boots because but he is still sponsored by, he's still a player of Adidas. And that's the same thing also with the players. Some have got sponsorship with Adidas, some with Under Armour, some with Puma and everything. And this package must all fit in what the club wants and the player wants. Those are financial packages first of all. And then there is the agent of the player too. He also wants to earn money for the deals he's making between the player, the club, and the giving club. These are all things that the club that is going to sign the player have to consider. And is it worthable to sign this player with that money? That's the first thing they think of. And if the financial package doesn't fit and everything doesn't fit, then I think it will be hard to sign that player. And then the other thing they look about is the character of the player. They ask your former club, your former coaches, the national team, everything. Has he ever had any problems in the national team? Does he have a difficult character? Can he cope with other players? Because at long last, football is a team game. It's a team. You have to be a team player. To be successful, you have to play as a team. And if you bring in an arrogant player who can't fit in with the rest of the players, I mean, it's there'll be a lot of conflicts in the team and you won't be successful. So this one package also, they think about it. After all this, if these things, everything is perfect and everything, the player gets signed and he's been presented to the fans. But if all these things doesn't fit, then that's the end of it. How did these things affect Victor Osimhen? I'm going to give you statistics one by one. So when Victor Osimhen was first playing for Napoli, and we all know he was a good striker. I mean, he's a good striker. He's scored a lot of goals in Napoli, became the top scorer in Serie A, which is very difficult. You know, Italians can defend very good, and the Serie A is one of the best leagues in Europe, in the world. No? And he came out there as a top scorer, and he helped Napoli after so many years. I think the last time they won the I don't know, but that's the Italian league title. The last time they won it, it was in the 80s with Maradona, when Maradona was playing in Napoli. Then came Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, and Martens, Koulibaly. There was Koulibaly, this guy from Senegal who was playing as a defender, and then there was this guy who was playing as a midfielder from Cameroon, and they won that league title. And the star of the team at that time was Osimhen, because he was scoring like a running water, scoring. And then he decided that he wanted to make another move to another big club. No, Napoli is a big club. No, I'm not trying to undermine Napoli. Napoli is a big club, but Osimhen wanted to move to the Premier League. But that time his contract was still running at Napoli, and Napoli didn't allow him to move. So there was some commotion between him and the club decided to give him out on loan to Galatasaray Istanbul. And when he went to Galatasaray, he continued to do the same thing. He was scoring. He was the idol of the fans and everything. So after the season, he was supposed to go back to Napoli again, a club that he didn't want to go back to. So he was on market. Any team could have had him. I mean, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, they're all looking for strikers. But Liverpool settled for a much younger player who proved himself for only 1 year in the Bundesliga, Hugo Ekitike, who they paid 90 million to Eintracht Frankfurt. Manchester United, they settled for Benjamin Sesko, a 22-year-old player who also played here in the Bundesliga for Red Bull. I think they paid for him, I think, 95 million. I'm not sure of this exact amount, but it was something around all that thing. And then there was Arsenal. They settled for a no name, Victor Gyökeres, and all those money that were paid for these strikers, they were much more than what Napoli was asking for Victor Osimhen. When Victor Osimhen was somebody who had proved himself before that he can score goals. He was in the Turkish league, he was the top scorer. He was in Syria, he was the top scorer. But they never gave him a deal. Even Chelsea never gave him a deal. They settled for somebody else, somebody out of that. And they were giving out more money for these people than Victor Osimhen, 75 million. And that's the question that a lot of people have been thinking. Why? Why give up so much money for people who have proved themselves once to one season? Yeah, younger people. But Victor Osimhen, tall, strong, been scoring Serie A. You don't pay the 75 million. I'll tell you why. First of all, the 75 million euros was the sum that Napoli was demanding. 75 million euro alone. And then Victor Osimhen was given a 15 million salary, per year, 50 million net. I mean, when I say net, I mean the taxes. The club was meeting the taxes. The club is going to meet the tax, and Osimhen is pocketing 15 million dry. Nothing is going to be deducted from that 15 million. Dry, he pockets is in his pocket. And, the Turkish income tax for people who are earning good money is 35%. 35%. That means Osimhen's contract was running for 4 years. That means for 15 million times 4 for 4 years, Osimhen is going to earn 60 million euros. And this 60 million euros, nothing deducted. That is his clean money. And then from this 60 million, Galatasaray will have to pay 35% tax on top of that to the government, because you have to pay the tax. I mean, no government will tell you, oh, Osimhen, come on, man, he's a good player, you are not going to pay the tax. No, you have to pay the tax. Even if the president, the finance minister is Galatasaray fan, you have to pay the tax. So this tax for 60 million, is 35% of 60 million is 21 million, which makes it to a total of 81 million. That's only the salary of Victor Osimhen plus the taxes. And then there comes what Napoli was demanding, the 75 million. If you add to the 75 million, it comes to 156 millions. That's the package for Victor Osimhen. We have not counted the bonus, because the players, they always, when they are negotiating their contract, they negotiate the bonuses. If I score a goal, if I play 90 minutes, if I do this thing, I mean, different kind of things. If you win the league title, if I win the Champions League, you have to give me some money too. This 156 million was only the pay. Then comes on top of that, there were bonuses, which Osimhen will have to get. And then on top of that, there is this money that Galatasaray will have to pay his agents. I mean, if you pick up the package and everything, it was going more than 180 million. 180 million for Victor Osimhen alone. And why did the clubs in the Premier League, the clubs in the Premier League, you can say they are rich, everything, the owners are Americans, they are billionaires, they can pay that money, without any problem. But listen, 181 million for somebody who is 26. That's why I tell you, football is business. For somebody who is 26, Victor Osimhen is 26 years old. In 4 years, he'll be 30 years old. And then you pay 181 million. And automatically, after 4 years with 30 years old, you can sell him with a profit. I mean, the player to develop and be a much more better player. I mean, he's already reached his maximum. With the 26, you have already reached your maximum in football. I mean, there is no this thing that you can develop more and be much more a good player. I mean, the graph is not going to go upstairs for you. It will start going downstairs. By the time you reach 30, you won't be good enough. So this guy is 26, and then 180 something million for him. No, we better give up something like, I can tell you, like somebody like Hugo Ekitike was playing for Eintracht Frankfurt here. Liverpool paid 95 million. And then he's earning, he's earning 10 million per season. And that's 10 million the taxes he have to pay for himself, which is much more cheaper than 181 of Victor Osimhen. The same with Victor Gyökeres in Arsenal. I don't know how much Arsenal paid, but he's going to pay his taxes, and his bonuses is not all that high. So they don't come to that figure, that the package of Victor Osimhen will reach. And that's why most of the clubs, most of the clubs in Europe, I mean big tires, football club here in Europe, they didn't want to sign Victor Osimhen, even though Victor Osimhen was the best striker, by that time who was on market. They didn't want to sign because he was just too expensive for his age. Simple period. Victor Osimhen was too expensive for his age. Some of you will start asking, but how can a Turkish club that cannot even win, has never even won the Champions League, they have no ambitions of winning the Champions League, can afford that thing? Let me tell you, according to reliable sources that I read here, Galatasaray to finance the Victor Osimhen deal, they had to sell their shares to private investors, which is a big risk. I can say it's a very big risk, because I can give you an example with a house on anything. There's a house over there somewhere here, and 10 people owns that house. Everybody have got his own idea what he wants to do with the house. There are 10 people, everybody owns the house, and everybody has got a say. So there are times maybe you'll decide, come on, we have to renovate the house and everything. The other will say, no, man, leave the house like that. The other one will say, let's renovate it. The other will say, let's sell it. There will always be a conflict. There's always be a conflict over there. And this Turkish club, Galatasaray, went that risk. There are so many private investors now who own Galatasaray. If you go to the Premier League, they prefer this system of selling the club to an owner. The owner of the club decides. If you come with the package, he looks at it and say, come on, this, it's my money. I can make money out of this money. Come on, let's sign him, or no, let's stop it. If you come to the Bundesliga, there is a system, they say 51 plus, which means the club must own 51% of the club. That means if there is anything about the club, it is the club that decides. The club is the members of the club is the one who decide the future of the club. And in Galatasaray, everybody can decide on the future of the club so long as you have the percentage on that club. Another thing that kicked Victor Osimhen out of European top-tier football was his character. And I don't want to say that Victor Osimhen is not a team player. Of course, he's a team player. We saw it in Napoli, in Galatasaray. He's somebody who's always out for fun. But there was a time that he had a confrontation with the Nigerian national coach, Finidi George. And Finidi George is somebody respected in Europe. For people out there, who are not Nigerians, who don't know who is Finidi George, this guy played for Ajax Amsterdam and he won the Champions League with Ajax Amsterdam. He played with the likes like Patrick Kluivert, Clarence Seedorf, Van der Sar, who was the goalkeeper for Manchester United for a very long time. Edgar Davids, and he was a fast starter. And they won the Champions League as the youngest team ever to win a Champions League. Under coach Louis van Gaal. Van Gaal, you all know him, he coached Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Ajax Amsterdam. Finidi George was responsible for the national team, and there was one time he questioned the commitment of Osimhen to the Super Eagles. And Osimhen didn't like this thing, and he went openly to the public and criticized Finidi George on that. That led to Finidi George resigning as the coach of Super Eagles. There's a law in football, mostly in professional football. If you don't like the coach, or you don't like what the coach says, or maybe what the coach is doing, you don't criticize him publicly. You meet him behind the door, between four eyes, his eyes and your eyes, and you talk out that thing out and settle that thing out there and there. That's the way it goes. If you try to answer the coach and question the coach and try to go into a confrontation with the coach, it doesn't go well for your career. The other clubs, they are watching. They start thinking, come on, this guy, if he comes here, he'll have a problem with the coach and everything. And that's one thing maybe the clubs in Europe kept away from Osimhen too. Victor Osimhen, no club wanted to sign him, but Galatasaray went to that risk and signed him. But to him, I can say it was a very good deal. Yeah, it's a very good deal. If you imagine you can get 60 million without paying any taxes, and then there are some bonuses that we're going to come into. Financially, it was a very big deal for him. He's one of the best paid footballers right now in the professional branch. He's one of the best paid footballers. I don't know who's the best, but Osimhen is having good money. But on sport perspective, the deal wasn't good, because Galatasaray is a team that it has no ambitions to win the Champions League. If even the Ballon d'Or, which a lot of players work hard to get, I think Victor Osimhen is out because Turkish league is just too weak for somebody to win that thing. And not only that to win, the club I don't know if the club will win the Champions League with Victor Osimhen this time, but I don't think so. There are pretty nice clubs over there, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Arsenal. These are clubs with ambitions to win the Champions League. Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Galatasaray, I don't think so. I don't think so they are going to win the Champions. That means the only things that remains for Victor Osimhen is to shine in the coming AFCON. To shine in the upcoming AFCON, becomes the Africa's Footballer of the Year. That's the biggest award he can win right now. But to put him, I mean, if Africa had to put him in a category, I mean, he can't read the categories of Didier Drogba, Eto'o, George Weah. Those people, they played for big clubs in Europe. They won Champions League. This thing, Osimhen with Galatasaray, he can forget it. And that's it. Me, Shakmatic, I say ciao. See you next time. Please subscribe if you like the content. See you in the next episode.